Welcome back, everyone, to the Roman Show, and it's a pleasure to have this gentleman here, all the way from the West Coast, California, singer of Mentu Buru, ska band, Mr. Matt, joining us all the way from California. Thanks so much for your time, Matt. The new EP is out right now, appropriately so, for the Christmas season or holiday season. The EP titled East Bakersfield Christmas, and one of the singles really that attracted me there is Donde Está Santa Claus, that mixture of the ska and the doo-wop and taking it back to the old school. But Matt, thanks so much for your time, man, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start off real quickly here. Donde Está Santa Claus? I mean, you have so many favorites here that you guys covered. Before we get into this, how come you guys didn't cover Mi Gorrito Sabanero, man?
Well, see now you're starting to get into like some deep dive. Well, when we picked these particular songs, we knew we only had so much time to do it and so much time to rearrange them, and we kind of had like a wish list of about 20 songs, and we really had to narrow it down to which ones we could put together the quickest, kind of make an impact with creatively, make them catchy, and then put it all together. So we're like, these are the songs, at least for this first time out, for this first collection, was we got to get some familiarity going on, and then we'll just, Mentu Buru them, which we did. So that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no doubt. Donde Está Santa Claus or all Jingle Bells, they're very popular songs. But in particular here, I know you have the video out already for Donde Está Santa Claus, which you guys shot that virtually. But this particular song here, it has a lot of elements to it. It's not just your ska. You got the chorus, the singers in the background. Tell me about the whole shooting and putting this particular together.
Yeah, well, the thing with Donde Está Santa Claus was, it's kind of it really got my attention when I became a father. It was really weird. When I became a dad, and, always listen to Christmas music and all that stuff, and you listen to the same old songs. And I don't even know how I came across it, but it was one of those songs where, like, it's this sounds like a little Chicano kid. He's singing, Donde Está Santa Claus? Like, what is all this about? I was tripping out. My son loved the song, and I started kind of doing my research about it. And I was like, whoa, okay, so this song came out in 1958. Augie Rios, who is this? How did this come about? I'm a nut for music history, and I love novelty songs. I love Christmas music, all that stuff. So I kind of went on this mission, and just to kind of find out more about the song. And then, it just gets lost with it, with as life moves on and all that stuff. But every year that song would come out, and I would show it to people. Did you guys ever know that there was this novelty song with like this little, Latino kid? I didn't know if he was Mexican or Puerto Rican or whatever. And they're like, no, I never heard that song. And then sometimes they would. So fast forward to now when we're putting the record together, I was like, we're going to do Donde Está Santa Claus. I got to do my research to see if anybody else has covered it. Elvis, the Mexican Elvis, had done it on one of his records. Let me see. Of course, Chabelo had done it with his baby voice when he did it in Spanish. And then Tatiana, one of the pop singers, had done it. And then most recently, last year was Los Lobos did it. So I was like, nobody owns Christmas music, so that's cool that they did it. They did it, but we're going to do it our way. Nobody had done it a ska fashion. We're going to retain the Latin elements in there. We have the congas in there. We got the hand bongo bell that I'm playing, and we're going to keep the we tested out with different styles. Is it going to work with a straight? Because it's written like a cha-cha-cha, kind of a boogaloo cha-cha-cha.
Right.
But then we're like, well, let's test it with the ska. So we tested out in different things, different arrangements, different tempos. And, it just came together really fast, which goes to show you about the early kind of marriage that Cuban music and Afro-Cuban music and Jamaican music, that early marriage was meant to be in the early 60s with the creation of ska music. So yeah, long story short, it worked, and we just had a blast with it. Went to work on it.
So, how many other songs were there that you guys were really considering doing, and you just kind of scratched it off?
Oh yeah, well, of course we wanted to do Jingle Bells and oh god, oh Silent Night, and all kind of like the obvious numbers that people would know right away, and they were like, oh, this is cool, this'll work, and Joy to the World, Carols of the Bells, even some of the country songs, because we are from Bakersfield after all, the home of Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and stuff like that. But we just wanted to be careful that we didn't get into, if we're going to do like some cool stuff, we didn't want it to get corny. We wanted it to remain like a certain level of coolness. And so that was the mission with it. Because the guys are like, when I told them we wanted to do a Christmas song, they're like, yeah. And then when they started thinking about it, they're like, hold on, is this going to be kind of corny? What is it going to sound like? I was like, listen, I'm going to put together a list, and then we're going to get together, and I'm going to sing the styles, and we're going to listen to music, and I want you guys just all to have an open mind, because, during this pandemic, we have not played since February. Our last gig was in February, and we didn't do anything. So we really had to go in there. We had an open mind, clear mind, because nobody was playing, nobody was doing anything. So it was the perfect time for us to kind of come up with a clear mind and start and just kind of have some fun with it. Let's not be serious. I think it's, right now, music, there's no room for pretentiousness right now. It's time for people to have a good time, and what better way than with Christmas music, So, yeah.
So since we can't, we get the little pandemic, and I know California's having it tough, just like the rest of the United States, but I know you guys are pretty bad out there with the hospital beds and all that stuff, but are you gonna guys do maybe like a virtual concert or something to get these things out, because you won't be able to play it live in person?
We've talked about it, but that was the reason why we did the music video, because people were asking if we're going to be able to play, and once now that the release is out and it's supposed to be dropping on Spotify and all the digital platforms any moment, but through that stuff sometimes takes time, because we also had to pay for licensing for these songs, because these songs are owned very deeply. The only song that we didn't have to pay for licensing because it was in the public domain was Greensleeves, the What Child Is This, the instrumental, because it was written in the 1500s. And what I found out was, like, if a composer has been dead for over 200 years, they give up their rights to their music. So I was like, okay, well, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. And, so we did the music video. It was funny how that happened, because it was kind of like an accidental music video. We were recording, and the guy who records it says, hey, I'm experimenting with this new camera I got. Do you mind if I do some, little promo stuff? Because I like to use it for promoting the studio to bands when they want to come in and see a band playing. So what he ended up doing, I was like, yeah, go ahead, So that's us actually, like, during our sessions, it was nothing. It was like, okay, now that you guys have recorded the songs, it was recorded on different days, and he kind of pieced it all together, and he tied it in, and it was like, okay, well, this is cool, because I know people are going to want to see us play, but now that especially here in California and in Kern County, our area of the Central Valley, they're really locking everything down. So, yes, there might possibly be a virtual show through like our YouTube channel or something like that. Okay. But for right now, we're like, you know what? Go on YouTube and look at the video, because that's as close as you're going to get. I mean, we look natural in there. We love to play live. I mean, but that's about as close to a live experience that you're going to get from us, at least for 2020. Unless we celebrate Christmas in January or in July.
Well, I mean, with this pandemic, I mean, might as well, right? We kind of lost count where the hell we are.
I know, yeah.
So the last stuff we have here is the Ska Rage or Ska Raj days that revisited from 92 to 96. That's out there available. But any other new stuff that you guys are working on aside from the EP that we should anticipate for 2021?
Yeah, during the pandemic, right before everything was locked down, we had a new album in the works, and we were really excited about it. It was actually it was gonna be one of the albums that was gonna we were going to debut the first all Spanish, lyrics that I had written. Even though I sing in Spanish, and every once in a while I'll improvise in some of the songs that we do, because we do play ska, but we're also a band. When we play live, we play a lot of salsa music, we play a lot of cumbias, and all that stuff. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to start writing our own originals in Spanish in the style that we play, which is like that Latin alternative ska sound, kind of like Los Fabulosos Cadillacs. We kind of have the same instrumentation, Mano Negra, all that. Mm-hmm. So I wrote it, and we're getting ready to release it, and the pandemic comes, and it was just like, you know what, we're kind of followed the lead of a lot of the bands that were getting ready to release music at the time. They said, you know what, we're just going to hold off on this until we could actually go out and tour and support it. And so that's what we're going to do. So hopefully by the spring, God willing, everybody's safe and we can go out and do everything back to business as usual. We're going to put the finishing wraps on that EP. It was another EP, but by the time it's going to be released, it's going to be a full length release. We also put together some dub versions of some of the songs that we had released. And we just wanted to make sure that we were engaging with fans from the time of the lockdown all the way to the time of the grand reopening. So there's going to be something sprinkled all throughout, month to month, after Christmas, because, we got a month of Christmas holiday music to promote this EP. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we have a bunch of smaller projects that we've been working on. We worked with our local college on rearranging their college fight song from the 1960s.
Oh, wow.
We did it in a ska punk version, Bakersfield College, which is the historic college here in Bakersfield. And we actually met while we were in the marching band. All the band members met, like those typical classic. It's a classic story of the kind of the nerdy band guys who were in the marching band. And, and we love ska music because it's like, well, we didn't play guitar, but I played the sax. My guy played the trombone, and we're like, hey man, well, we don't know how to play guitar, but we can play ska like Oingo Boingo or the Specials and Scatolites and stuff like that, and Voodoo Glow Skull. So we're like, let's form Mentu Buru. So here we are. We're still playing all that stuff, and dubs, punk ska, traditional ska, Latin ska, cumbia ska. It's we got ska coming out of our ears, baby.
Well, we need it, we need it. Ska kind of go through the flow. I think that the high peak would be really with, the 90s, Marina Sublime and, the No Doubt that they were, anybody Boston's that were really kind of bringing it up. But, nowadays it's more kind of like a niche. And it's sad because there's so much good, fun music, with ska. But do you think that there'll be a resurgence of this somehow, some way?
Yeah, ska's known for its revivals. So you had your, after the 60s, you had your late 70s into the 80s with two-tone, and then you had the third wave with, all the boss tones, Real Big Fish and all that stuff. And Mentu Buru, we were on the Moon Ska Records label. And then it just, just comes around every so many years. And it's like punk. It's like punk rock music, It never goes away. It's always there. It's very youth-oriented, very youth-driven. Mm-hmm. And, it's a lot of fun. And it's just one of those layers of kind of like, every year you went to the Vans Warped Tour in the summer.
Yes, now that doesn't exist, yeah.
You did all that stuff. Man, I went to all those shows, saw all my favorite bands, and then we formed a band and we became part of that scene. And it's like, it's good that it's always around. They can call it a revival, but it's never truly gone. I mean, these we never stopped playing, even when it kind of fell out of favor into the early 2000s. We never stopped playing. We started adopting different styles to keep working as a band, but playing the ska music the way we did when we first started, that high energy and then into the traditional style, it was always there. So we were always excited when people started requesting. And so this Christmas album was like the perfect vehicle to remind listeners that, this is ska music is still very much in the Mentu Buru blood. I mean, it's reflective of the name Mentu and Buru, are references to two Jamaican styles of music, which end up making the rhythmic foundation of reggae and ska. So we were able to kind of reach back into that, much to the glee and the excitement of the old fans who thought that we had stopped, we had forgotten about our ska roots, and then also with the new kids that are discovering us for the first time. We're like, yeah, we're these older cats, but man, we could still jam with the best of them.
Right.
And we still jump around. We still got good knees.
That's what's important. You definitely need to jump around. You can't be like just, because there's some. Chris Cornell, he's at the top of my head right now. When he was with Audio Slave, and he was singing the Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocha would be jumping all around. But when he did his version, he was just hanging around, just singing, and it was a different. But yes, you definitely need that vibe on stage when you go to a ska rock concert.
You gotta jump around. I mean, if you're gonna do Rage, talk about them for a second. You gotta jump around like Zach, man.
Right.
You gotta be able to do that, man. Yeah. We actually had, my wife and I actually had tickets to see them at in Washington D.C. This year.
Oh, right.
It was before the election. We had tickets to go see it and everything. We were actually going to stay at the Watergate Hotel across the street from the theater that we were going to see him at. And then pandemic, cut, every freaking show, that concert just,
that would have been insane. That would have been insane. That would have been one for the ages.
I know, man. We were so excited about it. But, we're like, if everybody takes care of themselves, I mean, I'm probably in better health now than I have been in a while. And I think a lot of bands out there, a lot of touring bands are kind of taking that break to kind of get their health back in check. Mm-hmm. And I think when everything opens up, man, I mean, it's just going to be an explosion of energy, and we'll never take advantage of that. Take it for granted again. Yeah. How important live music is to us. You know what I mean?
Yes, it will definitely humble us and appreciate things more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, man, I want to thank you for your time, man. Again, the EP is out. Soon it'll be on Spotify. But you can check it out on SoundCloud at East Bakersfield Christmas EP, available right now. They do some covers and expect some more stuff from Mentu Buru very, very soon. Matt, thanks so much for your time, man, and happy holidays, man, or Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, whatever you got to celebrate.
Yeah, Feliz Navidad, baby. Come on.